So if you want good indicators as to how certain campaigns are going, you can look at what's going on internally with the campaign. Now, in the Trump campaign, there was just a massive shakeup. As it appears, some of their top communications people are being demoted. There's also a story that just came out about Donald Trump yelling and screaming and getting so pissed off that his staff is not good, and just livid with all of them, using expletives to describe Vice President Kamala Harris and to describe his own team. But I want to discuss this shakeup. Remember that guy, Steve Cheung? And remember Caroline Levitt, some of Donald Trump's top propagandists? They seem to be pushed aside right now, again, in the final stretch of the election, which is usually not a good sign that things are going well internally. Why would you need to shake it up like that and make drastic changes now if things were going well? So here's what we learned, a scoop from Sophia Kai at Axios, and she says the Trump campaign has elevated Trump 2020 vet Tim Murtaugh to lead its communications department. They have a new leader at the top of the communications department, including research, rapid response, social media, and Trump's surrogate media appearances. Now, that job used to be Steve Cheung and Caroline Levitt. They're being what's called layered and kind of pushed aside. There's not an explicit statement that they've been demoted or fired, but there's implied in this that that may be what's going on. As one of the top communications directors for Kamala Harris's campaign says, a campaign shakeup 25 days out is not a good sign. Hate to see, she's being sarcastic here, he's being sarcastic here, hate to see at the Stephen Cheung get layered again. Now, let's talk about the types of things that Stephen Cheung would do and say. Stephen Cheung would just randomly post things like this. Kamabla, he would write. He put a Venn diagram out there that said, blah, Kamala, Kamabla. That's what he thinks is the kind of important communications to message things to the public. He would also put out statements like the following statement when he would deny stories that were true about Donald Trump were taking place. He'd put out statements like this. Here's my full statement. This would be Donald Trump's head of communications. None of these stupid bullshit stories are even remotely true. Those willing to peddle these fucking outright lies will always back down at the end of the day. Again, you know I don't like to curse here. I'm just reading for you the types of statements that would be released from Donald Trump's campaign. And again, I want you to think about that. Now, we know that Donald Trump gives speeches in churches where he curses. He leads chants of the words BS, but he actually curses over and over again at the various churches when he speaks there, and he rents them out. He uses some disgusting language. He uses the F word in lots of his speeches, but this is how Trump's campaign would message. They wouldn't say, oh, it's not true, or here are the facts. They would say the BS word, they would say the F word over and over again, and that's the way Stephen Cheung would message things. Now, one of the things that Stephen Cheung would brag about as well, and I believe, it's my opinion here, that this is potentially even a crime, when the White House would hold conference calls, he would claim that he would take the numbers, steal the phone numbers of the conference lines, and they would eavesdrop on President Biden. Look what he says. This is what Stephen Cheung said. It would be a real shame if I were to somehow obtain the call-in for this, which is a White House Chief of Staff all hands on deck call that took place a month or two ago, would be disastrous. A real shame. Again, I just want you to reflect on the character of these people, the very low character of these people. Steve Cheung, when he released a statement saying that Donald Trump was too afraid to debate Vice President Kamala Harris, put out statements like this. Given the continued political chaos around crooked Joe Biden and the Democrat Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. There is a strong sense by many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat President Trump, and they are still holding out for someone better. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds. That was the first time when Donald Trump was too afraid to debate. He ended up doing the debate. with ABC, got destroyed, got humiliated on live TV, and is too scared to debate Vice President Kamala Harris again. And then when people were like, hey, Steve Cheung, why are you calling him Hussein Obama? Why are you saying things like that? Stephen Cheung said, you idiots fell for the trap. Hussein was trending and was mentioned on cable news throughout the night. Thanks for doing our jobs. Cucking his announcement this morning, you moron, is what he said right there. Here, Stephen Cheung again posted the following. Kamala HQ talks about doing weird things with coconuts. Fact check true. Again, this is very strange and weird messaging that would come out. Here he puts lockers and a garbage can and says, trigger warning for Kamala HQ staff run by bullied interns. Okay, and let me just show you the types of press conferences that he would hold so you can see for yourself. Let me show you this clip right here. Here's Stephen Cheung at a press conference. Let's play it.
Make no mistake, this is election interference of the highest order. Crooked Joe Biden and his campaign are in complete freak-out mode, and that's why they've gone back on the word, and now they've gone in bed with a highly conflicted judge. And now they're making a political mockery of this entire thing. The fact remains that President Trump will overcome. He'll fight these charges up and down, and there's nothing to stop the truth from coming out. Thank you.
Hey, Midas Mighty, with all these videos that I've been doing recently, and as I get a little bit older, it's important that I take care of my body, take care of my health, just be a little bit more intentional with the way I live. It's why I eat Mosh bars daily. Mosh was founded by Maria Shriver and her son, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Their mission was to create a conversation about brain health through food education and research. You see, Maria's father suffered from Alzheimer's, and since then, she and her son Patrick have dedicated themselves to finding ways to help other families with this debilitating disease. So they joined forces with some of the top scientists and functional nutritionists to go beyond your average protein bar with 10 delicious flavors, including 3 that are plant-based. Each Mosh bar is made with ingredients to support brain health like ashwagandha, lion's mane, collagen, and omega-3s. And now, Mosh has a new look and new formulation featuring a game-changing brain-boosting ingredient you're not going to find in any other bar. Mosh is now the first and only food brand boosted with cognizin, a premium nootropic that supplies the brain with a patented form of cytokinin. I've absolutely loved the flavor of their banana bread bars, and nothing feels better than getting a nutritious energy kick while knowing it's supporting my brain health. So if you want to find ways to give back to others and fuel your body and your brain, Mosh bars are the perfect choice for you. Go to moshlife.com/Midas, save 20% plus free shipping on either the bestsellers trial pack or the new plant-based trial pack. That's 20% off plus free shipping on either the bestsellers or plant-based trial pack at moshlife.com/Midas. Thank you, Mosh. That's moshlife.com/Midas. Thanks for sponsoring this episode.
Stephen Cheung also posted this photo of Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and President Biden, dumb and dumber and dumbest. Here's the Venn diagram again, comma, blah, you can see for yourself. And, you know, I think he was one of the people kind of leading the charge with Donald Trump using weird AI, like Donald Trump's campaign would post AI images like this, open border equals packed classrooms. And then when you zoom in on the faces of the people, they're not actually people, it's just AI. Talk about Caroline Levitt for a moment and the type of language that would be used from Donald Trump in the campaign. Here, Caroline Levitt was on Fox, and even the Fox hosts were like, why are you using, like, he's cursing, he's calling Gavin Newsom scum, new scum. Like, do you think this is appealing to, like, normal people? Like, do you think this language, people who care about character, do you think this appeals to them? Here's what Caroline Levitt had to say. Play the clip right here.
Okay, Caroline, I've got a complaint. I know the campaign wants to win over Nikki Haley's voters, but I don't think you do that with name calling. For example, I take issue with Trump's new nickname for California governor, calling him new scum. I don't think that's a good idea. I object to that kind of language. How about you?
Well, I think that what Governor Gavin Newsom has done to the once great state of California is terrible. You see real scum, real homeless people all over the streets.
Excuse me, are you okay? Are you saying it's okay to bring that kind of language to a presidential campaign? New scum? That's okay?
I think the real problem here, Stu, is the policies of the deranged Democrats from Gavin Newsom to Joe Biden
I think your
that have
campaign
destroyed
has
American
a problem with
communities
language
across
like
this
that.
country.
You don't agree with me, but I think your campaign has a problem with language like that.
Well, I don't think voters respectfully agree with you either, Stu. If you look at the resounding wins that President Trump has received across the board.
You think you're going to win over Haley voters with language like that, do you? You win over moderates and women with language like that? Really?
But I want you to ask yourself, is this shakeup working? You remove Stephen Cheung, you remove Caroline Levitt. Let's talk about Donald Trump's main message since they've left, though. Because Donald Trump's still going to be Donald Trump, right? So when Donald Trump spoke at the Detroit Economic Club, one of the things that he talked about is that Detroit is crap. He said he hates Detroit. He said that if Vice President Kamala Harris is elected, the country's going to look like Detroit. He's saying as that's a bad thing, he's saying, even though Detroit and Michigan in many areas is experiencing a renaissance. Here's what Donald Trump said, just to remind you.
I don't think anything that we're talking about today is high on our list. The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
Here's a meme that I've seen circling around. Donald Trump, our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. But take a look at what Detroit actually looks like in 2024. That led Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign to put out the following ad about Detroit Strong. Let's play this clip right here.
They said we were dead.
Detroit waving the white flag, the city filing for bankruptcy.
That our best days were behind us. That living here is like
living in hell.
But you know what we said? We said, F that. We rebuilt ourselves. We looked out for each other, got our hands dirty, and put in the hard work. And this guy, he don't know anything about that. We are a city of winners, of up-and-comers, of builders, the Motor City. Bigger and better. Here, we believe in freedom. We don't bow down to nobody, and we never will. And so what Donald Trump doesn't understand, or care to learn, is that when he said,
our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president,
that he should be so goddamn lucky.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So, I want you to ask yourself, do you think the demotion or potential demotion of Cheung and Levitt is having an impact? And also, let's reflect on the fact that that's not, when you're winning, that's not something that you normally do. And then, of course, the widely reported stories of Donald Trump flipping out and freaking out, and that his campaign's in chaos. He's using the R word to refer to Kamala Harris. You can read it for yourself. I just don't like some of the language that he uses is just so putrid that I don't even want to repeat it personally. But judge it for yourself. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe and let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.